welcome back. It's been a while since I responded to questions, so let's do this. First question, are you ever going to finish Dragon Age, LOL? Krogan, I knew it was going to be you that was asked this question. Yes, I mentioned this a bit on Twitter, but let me explain what happened. I upgraded to Windows 10, and I was excited about it because my audio issues would finally be resolved. The upgrade went smooth, but I noticed performance issues, especially after Windows 10 started upgrading. You know, those automatic upgrades that you can't stop? And the clashes with my NVIDIA card started happening. Lots of people had the same issues as I did. And slowly, my install started to degrade. Now, let me be clear. It was a little buggy at first. I noticed little things wrong, but it started to slowly degrade. I started receiving more blue screens of death on Windows 10 than I ever did with Windows 7. So that last update about 2 weeks ago, I went to reboot and the computer would not reboot. Repair didn't work because it said that the version of Repair I was using did not match my Windows install. And there are people that have been complaining about this problem since the end of September, and it's still there. So, trying Repair, I tried everything. I could see the data on the disk, couldn't access it. So that meant that I lost my save files on that hard drive. I wasn't worried because I had a cloud save. You know, every time you log into the game, what does it say? Connecting to servers. So I had cloud save on, so I didn't think anything of it. It's like, okay, you know, that's the only game right now that I'm playing that I have save games on. So, because everything else is MMOs. So it's like, okay, whatever, you know. Instead of buying a new drive and everything, I'll just wipe this one and reinstall Windows 7. So I reinstalled Windows 7 and my computer is working a lot better than it was. I can definitely see the difference between my first install and this one. And I'm on Windows 10 now. But when I went to load the saves, this is what I saw. So what you didn't know, but what you can see here, is that I started a new playthrough. I had mentioned in previous videos where my team would be standing there while I'm trying to kill mobs on the nightmare difficulty, the hardest difficulty. Let me put into words how not fun that is. Watching your party stand in one spot, that makes dragon fights absolutely impossible. So I decided to create a new game and play it on normal. What I made the decision business-wise of is that when I play on hardest difficulty, that's something that should be like a personal achievement for me. But when it comes to getting videos out and everything, if it's going to be buggy like that, then that's just going to be a drain on everything. So playing in normal mode so that I can get the story out. And then if something spectacular happens on Nightmare, playing it personally, you know, I can upload it then. But getting the story out is the most important thing. So I made a new character, which also got wiped. I had gotten almost to the same point that I was in the other playthrough because I didn't make the mistake that I made, the sad mistake actually, of spending too much time in the hinterlands. So I lost those save game files too, and I have this interesting situation, as you can see here, where I have tons of videos, but no save games to match it. You can see that I stopped playing at the end of September, and that's around the time that I started receiving content ID matches on videos, which I also mentioned on Twitter. And you may have seen where I tried to re-upload a video that had been flagged, and the audio was just completely jacked. I have music turned off simply for this reason. When I enter the inn, every time I enter that sucker, music plays, and that music gets flagged. Every time. So that means no conversations with Bull or Sarah, etc. in the inn, which means, you know, completely changing the play style. So hopefully turning sound effects off, I'm going to have to try that, will help solve that. But if not, I'm going to have to do all of my conversing with them outside of the inn, or not upload the footage. Oh my God, it's such a pain. So I admit that with all of that going on, I needed a break from the game for a little bit because I was annoyed, putting it nicely. So I made the decision that while everybody is playing Fallout 4, which I haven't even purchased, I'll be in Inquisitions like a beast because my computer is stable. What made it stable for me, just to pass this on to other people, I took NVIDIA Experience off. I just took that off. I was using Shadowplay, which is part of NVIDIA Experience to record my videos. And on Windows 7, that was a good option. I could not get OBS to work right on Windows 7. On Windows 10, OBS works better than Shadowplay. So getting rid of NVIDIA Experience has stopped the clashes with the updates. I only have the NVIDIA drivers installed, and OBS works great for recording. So that's, like a behind the scene change that I was dealing with while everything else was going on. So that's why videos slowed in general, because it's like, okay, what am I going to use, to record footage? So yes, Dragon Age will continue, and I sincerely apologize for the delays. It was ridiculous, I know. Next question. CPT asks, certain stories you simply can't tell through games, period, unless you turn the game into a full-blown movie, which is a whole other complication. But do you think Illidan, Arthas, Varian, or Sylvanas are going to share their insecurities with nameless NPC heroes? You're focusing on the word time, when it's really the words within the game space that's the real issue, which is only reasonable since certain formats work better in terms of translating certain kinds of story. Plus, there's the chronological factor involved, so you don't have conflicting storylines all at once, timeline-wise. Though that's not to say Warlords wasn't mismanaged, of course. And this is a question that's in response to me talking about the devs talking about new books being made for Warcraft. And one of the people giving the interview said that the books was a way to tell stories that they didn't have time to say, to tell in game. So I thought about this comment for a while, and I agree to a point and disagree. Witcher, Fallout, and even WoW are examples of games that tell stories. It doesn't have to go into, like a Telltale Games level to tell a story. Even Assassin's Creed, to a certain degree, tells a story. Not all games are meant to tell a story, though. But WoW is known for the Warcraft story. So saying, we don't have time, is utter bullshit. An utter bullshit excuse, in my opinion, for Blizzard when we're right smack in the middle of a content drought, okay? I'm glad that they're expanding the story via books because I think that the story needed to be expanded a long time ago just to stop this. And we're going back in time and now we're in the present and then we're going back and now we're going, that usually happens when there's not a consistent, strong foundation for a story. So I'm glad that the story is being expanded in the books. That's great. And I think that the books will go into more detail than players would experience in game. It's a different type of experience. So books are supposed to complement the game, okay? But I think the comment, we don't have time, would have been more appropriate if the game was packed with new content coming out regularly, more than players could deal with. And then you could say, literally, that there wasn't time to put in the game, this story, blah, blah, blah. An example, SOTOR, Star Wars The Old Republic, is changing to be more story-based. Now, their story, and they just did this, what was it, about 4 or 5 hours? Let's be nice and say 8 hours to go through 5 levels, something like that. But what they're trying to do is keep people subscribed by adding regular content, regular scheduled content that is highly story-based. So in my opinion, they know people are going to play for that 8 hours, subscribe for that month, peace out, and then come back and peace out. And, so they will hopefully manage their income to match those peaks and lows. And if that is successful, it might actually change the landscape for games that are based on story within MMOs, where players will begin to demand more content for their subscription. I get the point, what this person was saying. I totally get your point, and I agree in some cases, but Blizzard, maybe they're just rubbing me the wrong way because they mismanaged stuff too bad. Horribly. I don't know. Next question. This is another World of Warcraft question. To touch on normal raid queues idea, the thing people forget is that LFR is designed to let you do the fights incorrectly, to ignore mechanics, abilities define the fight, and removed, and abilities that one-shot players instead do a small amount of damage. Earlier today, actually, I was running a dungeon. While I was only 69 to 71, you can still die in there due to the amount of damage trash mobs do. While in the room with dungeons, the healer gets knocked back into trash and dies. We were able to survive. While rezzing the healer, these guys run ahead and pull trash, resulting in them dying. Now let's establish one fact. They were not new players. These were guys in heirloom gear that had went to level 100. They were veteran players. But despite knowing the game, they still died doing something stupid. What I'm trying to establish is that even though these players know the game and had visuals telling them not to do something, they still did it. People in randoms ignore pretty much everything and pay little attention to what they're actually doing, putting them in normal mode where the threat of dying becomes a reality and you have Wipe City. Unfortunately, I 100% agree with this. And it's sad that this happens. I don't use LFR because I've heard countless stories like this. WoW's weakness in this area is why games like Final Fantasy XIV thrive. And from what I've heard, their dungeons are challenging and people enjoy them. Changing the mechanics for LFR, I don't know how realistically to fix this problem. And I'm curious how Guild Wars 2 raids will work out long term. Although it's a different type of playstyle in Guild Wars 2 because it has no Trinity system. These raids are supposed to be really challenging. And that might be another alternative for players that prefer, more challenging content with players that take going in there somewhat seriously. You know what I'm saying? They're going to pay attention to what they do. They want to perform well. The mental attitude is different. You see what I'm saying? And it's sad that instead of trying to find a solution to WoW's LFR problem, or even hoping there will be one, I automatically think of other games, unfortunately. So, okay, this is getting rather long. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.
Enough! Pretender, you toy with forces beyond your ken, no more.
Whatever you are, I'm not afraid.
Words mortals often hurl at the darkness. Once they were mine, they are always lies. Know me. Know what you have pretended to be. Exalt the Elder One. The will that is Corypheus. You will kneel.
You'll get nothing out of me!
You will resist. You will always resist. It matters not. I am here for the anchor. The process of removing it begins now. It is your fault, Herald. You interrupted a ritual years in the planning, and instead of dying, you stole its purpose. I do not know how you survived, but what marks you as touched, what you flail at rifts. I crafted to assault the very heavens. And you used the anchor to undo my work. The gall.
It's a boon from Andraste. She saved my life.
Then your lady wished me to kill you, for her boon is a beacon I cannot let escape. I once breached the Fade in the name of another to serve the old gods of the Empire in person. I found only chaos and corruption, dead whispers. For 1,000 years I was confused, no more. I have gathered the will to return under no name but my own, to champion Withered Tevinter and correct this blighted world. Beg that I succeed, for I have seen the throne of the gods, and it was empty. The anchor is permanent. You have spoilt it with your stumbling. So be it. I will begin again. Find another way to give this world the nation and God it requires. And you, I will not suffer even an unknowing rival. You must die.
Your arrogance blinds you. Good to know. If I'm dying, it's not today!